Lana, Santana Garrett, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Braun Strowman have officially all become free agents, as well as Adam Cole, and we're going to discuss exactly where I think they may be going from here. Daniel Bryan is on his way to AEW sooner than expected and could be appearing as early as this Sunday. We got a big predictions episode, as I will be giving my predictions for Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix Day 9, which is main evented by the rematch of Utami Hayashishita versus Shiori. Both New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle, Grandslam, and MetLife Dome shows happening this weekend, and of course, AEW All Out. This, guys, is the 63rd edition of the Chill Spill Podcast. The S is silent, by the way. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Tyler Mask, aka Suplex. That's SOOPLEX on TikTok and SOOPLEXX on Twitch.tv, aka Tyler Kuhn Williams, aka the one who lived. And guys, welcome back to the 63rd edition of the Chill Spill Podcast, and that is pill spelled with an S, but it is silent, much like Adam Cole's contract. I'm sorry, I didn't have a good one for this week. Every week I try to keep up with the whole, but the S is silent part. It's kind of really I would say a staple of this show. I didn't have one planned out for this week, so I just tried to make one up on a cuff. So leave me alone, all right? Leave me alone. But anyway, guys, today is the first day of September. We're about to be moving into the fall season very soon. We're also 21 days away from the Arthur Ashe Stadium show, which I'm super amped for. I will be in attendance for it. Hopefully, I'm in attendance for it because, I don't know, man. The New York laws, they keep putting mandates out and all this kind of stuff, which I'm not mad that they're putting out mandates and laws and all that kind of stuff regarding COVID, but like, I bought tickets to the damn show. If this show gets canceled, which I'm not manifesting now, I'm still believing that it's going to happen, but it's realistic. If this show were to get canceled, this would be the second AEW show that I had bought tickets for that got canceled on me. So I'm going to be hella pissed and probably not buy tickets to another AEW show until COVID's like completely done and rid of. And God knows when that's going to be. So hopefully this show is still going to happen, no matter if it means that, we all have to wear a mask or like they have to restrict some people or cut down. I don't know what they have to do, but this show just better happen, bro. That's all I know. But we'll talk about that Arthur Ashe Stadium show in a bit. First thing I want to get into before anything is Adam Cole, baby. So Adam Cole, as you guys all know, he had his last match in NXT last Sunday at NXT TakeOver 36 against Kyle O'Reilly, which he did lose the match. And many fans are speculating as to if that was going to be his last match in NXT or in all of WWE, as we all knew that his contract was coming up. And he met with Vince McMahon, but apparently it didn't really go anywhere. But people were really debating what his next move is going to be. Obviously, Adam Cole wasn't going to say anything. You got to keep it up in the air, get people interested. And it seems as if he has let his contract run out completely. His contract was set to expire last Friday, and there's been no signs or no reports that he has re-signed with WWE, which it is not to say that he can't re-sign, even though his contract expired, and even if your 90-day no-compete is over, you can still re-sign with the company. They can still offer you a contract, you sign it, and now you're back with the company. It's not a one and done, you can never come back to this company ever again. That just means you're done with the company for now. Or forever, depending on who you are, but he's done with them for now. So Adam Cole has walked. Yeah, I see some conflicting opinions online about it. Some people, I talked about it last week. I got into it last week. I kind of want to splice in a little bit of that clip. I actually liked my thoughts on it last week, so I'll splice in a little clip of it right here. Apparently, reports are going out now that Adam Cole is virtually done with the NXT brand. His contract's coming up at the end of the week. I'm guessing that means Friday his contract is up. He is not re-signed with WWE as far as we know, and he cannot start contract negotiations with other places until his contract is officially up. Question is, where is he going, or is he staying? If he's staying, it's not on the NXT brand because they wrote him off. He's done. If he stays, he's going to SmackDown or Raw. Now, I don't know how much money they're going to offer him. Probably a lot. I'm pretty sure from what I heard, he had a meeting with Vince McMahon a few weeks ago. I'm sure that probably had a lot of money lobbed at him. But he did not resign. At least not yet. Do I think he will resign? I hope not. I know that he can be treated much better outside of WWE. Now, here's the thing. I will not at all lie to you and say that Adam Cole was Barry, Adam Cole was this, Adam Cole was that. Adam Cole had one of the best runs in NXT of any NXT wrestler I've seen. Like one of, not the best, but one of the best runs in NXT I've ever seen. This man, from the first day he came in, was introduced with a faction, the Undisputed Era, which became the greatest faction in NXT history, bar none. The greatest faction in NXT history. They had a 4-year run, because from 2017 to 2021 was 4 years. They had a 4-year run where they won every championship and at one point held every championship. Adam Cole, in that period of time, main evented several takeovers, had several great matches, several great feuds. At one point, was the NXT champion, was the NXT North American champion, and if I'm correct, I also believe he held the NXT Tag Team Championships via the Freebird rule. So he's already won every NXT championship. He's already main evented NXT takeovers. He's already feuded with everybody there is to feud with in NXT. There was nothing left for him. There was nothing left on the table for Adam Cole in this brand. So if he resigns, he's done. He's not going back. He's going to SmackDown or Raw. And I don't feel like they're going to treat him better than he was treated on NXT. And if that's the case, then he should grab and go. Now you could say, oh, where's the loyalty? And yeah, you can make an argument that, okay, Adam Cole was treated so well, he shouldn't leave like that. But that's when you get into the conversation of, if you know there is nothing better for you on the other side, why stay? You've already peaked. Time for something new. What happened to a fresh start? There's a lot of people who are really trying to gang on the fact that Adam Cole should stay because he was treated so well in NXT. And yeah, I agree. But look at the track record of all the NXT wrestlers who were treated well in NXT and got treated like dog shit on main roster. I could list you probably 20 wrestlers off the top of my head, but I'm not going to do that for you. You can look on your own. Look on the main roster and tell me all the NXT wrestlers you see who are not treated like, royalty. Adam Cole, I feel like, could become one of those wrestlers. I can't guarantee you he will, because if he had a meeting with Vince McMahon and he got dealt a lot of money, then maybe they might give him a good run. But Adam Cole, his biggest flaw to them is his height. He's 5'8", 5'10". He is not very tall. He is not going to be treated all that well the way that many people think he will be. His time in WWE should be done because he is not going to be treated any better than he already was. There's a lot more to that clip that I played at about like 5 minutes more, but I just wanted to get that prime part in there. And I stand by it. I believe that Adam Cole is not going to be treated any better on the main roster than he was in NXT. I just don't see it. The guy was on top of NXT for several years. He was the top faction. His factions held all the championship. He main evented plenty of takeovers with his faction, without his faction. He was in main events of several NXTs. He was a long reigning champion. He's beaten just about every top name there is and feuded with every top name there is. There is nothing left for him in that brand. So yes, you could say, oh, but there's so many of the feuds left for him in Raw and SmackDown. But you gotta remember who Raw and SmackDown's officiated by. And what that person has in mind when he's looking for his top star. Adam Cole does not fit that mold. Which is why I think that Raw is not going to work out for him. So, everyone keeps saying, oh, AEW, and honestly and truly, you know what I mean? AEW probably is the destination for him. His girlfriend works there. A lot of his friends everybody has said it. I just got to reiterate. His friends work there. His girlfriend works there. There's a lot of cool talent. He can have great matches. It makes the most sense. I've heard some people say ROH, he was a big staple in Ring of Honor for a while. I don't know how much money Adam Cole made in NXT. I would like to assume that if Ring of Honor really badly wanted Adam Cole, they could match that. If not, probably try to spend more because Adam Cole is a top star on WWE programming for some years, so he obviously is going to probably want more money. But like I said, I don't know how much his contract was for. Probably was not worth more than $1 million. We'll see. We'll see. As far as AEW goes, if Adam Cole were to make his debut in AEW, here's how I see it playing out. I think there's two ways of going about this. I think that he joins the Elite, because right now with the Elite, it's Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the Good Brothers, Brandon Cutler, and I think that's it. Don Callis, if you count him as a manager. But that's the Elite. So you have Kenny Omega, who's occupying the AEW Tag Team Championships. You have the Young Bucks occupying the Tag Team Championships. So would it be cool to have Adam Cole come in and occupy the TNT Championship, maybe? I mean, if you do that, you kind of... I don't want to say it's almost like demoralizing to Adam Cole, but it does kind of bring him down a bit if he goes straight after the TNT and not the AEW World Championship. But then again, you got to remember, Adam Cole... He's gonna fit in any position you put him in. I think he'll excel greatly in the main event scene, but you don't need to have him in the main event scene right now, especially because you're bringing in guys like Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. I think you don't want to oversaturate too much with your main event scene, because then the rest of your undercard is going to look weak. So I think that when you bring in someone like a CM Punk, and I don't think CM Punk should be competing for the AEW World Championship right now. Daniel Bryan, I think that's another case, and I'll talk about him in a bit. But you have Kenny Omega, who's a champion. You have Christian Cage, who's competing for right now, but I don't think he's going to be in the World Championship picture much longer after this point. You have Bryan Danielson, who I think will be in that title picture, but I'll talk about it more a little bit later on. And that's really kind of it right now. There isn't any cemented main event scene in AEW per se, and I feel like it really hasn't been that way for a hot minute, really since, I want to say, when AEW started. When Chris Jericho was the world champion, it's like, okay, Kenny Omega's in that top role, Pac is in the top role, Cody's in the top role until he lost to Chris Jericho. Moxley's in the top role. Even when Moxley was champion, which it was a bit harder because they had COVID going on and a lot of shows, you had guys who you want to see in there with Moxley and, probably could have great matches, all that kind of stuff. There's guys could have great matches with Kenny Omega, but I feel like AEW has not been doing a very good job of making other people look like they're on Kenny's level at the moment, unless they're directly going to feud with Kenny, Like, there's not that other guy waiting in the looms. And that one guy was Heyman Page, but he's gone. I think his wife is pregnant, might be giving birth very soon, so he's gone. He's out the picture. So right now, without Heyman Page, what's after Christian Cage? You might say, oh, well, what about Adam Cole? I mean, I think that might be way too soon. I wouldn't do Adam Cole that early. I mean, he just left NXT. But like I said, I'll get into somebody else in a bit. I think the first avenue is Adam Cole joins the Elite because, his connections with the Young Bucks and Kenny. The other option would be that maybe he feuds with the Elite. Maybe people expect him to join the Elite, and he, attacks them with Christian Cage or Frankie Kazarian, and he becomes a babyface on the AEW roster. AEW right now doesn't really have a top babyface. You could say, oh, what about Christian Cage? And like I said earlier, I feel like after this feud, Christian Cage is going to slip down the card a bit because I don't think he's going to be in that main event scene very much longer. You could say Heyman Page, and Heyman Page is not active. You can say CM Punk, but CM Punk is not. He could be, but I don't think he should be competing for the World Championship right now. He just came back to wrestling. It's a different story between CM Punk, who's been gone for 7 years, and Adam Cole, who's been gone for like 7 days. Like there's a big difference there. A big difference. CM Punk needs to kind of earn his way into the world title shot. You could kind of make a case or an argument for somebody else. You can't really make an argument for CM Punk other than, oh, he's popular, he's over. That really doesn't work all too much if you're not an indie, like, smart or, big wrestling fan. That kind of argument doesn't work with casual fans as to why he's getting a championship match. So I think Adam Cole is either going to join the Elite or feud with the Elite. I think if he feuds with the Elite, you have more of a chance of him actually competing for the World Championship. If he joins the Elite, I think that chance goes down a lot. So it kind of depends on what you guys want to see Adam Cole do. Either way, I feel like for me, if Adam Cole does not join AEW, I'm not upset because I've said this plenty of times before. AEW has enough talent. Like, they have an absurdly great amount of talent. There's no such thing as you have too much talent, because too much talent in the sense of quality. However, there is a such thing as too much talent in the terms of quantity, which I feel like AEW is starting to get to that point where they have too much talent in terms of quantity. They have near 100 wrestlers signed to the AEW roster right now. Nearly 100. Probably 100 by now because they just signed Jamie Hayter, Neverrise, 2.0. They're probably going to announce another signing very soon. Maybe even 2, maybe 3. We'll get into those guys in a bit. But the more people to sign, the more people they got to worry about how they're going to circle them into new feuds. Because yes, having a lot of people in your roster comes to the benefit when you need new challengers. Let's say Kenny Omega ran through Christian, ran through Adam Cole, ran through CM Punk. I'm not saying it's going to happen or want it to happen, but he ran through those guys. Well, guess what? You have these new crop of guys that you haven't signed, and you have people who haven't been seen on TV in quite some time that you can put up against Kenny Omega. So yeah, there's a big surplus of talent there. But when you have so much, then you have people who are just not being used. And then what happens when people are not being used? They get tiresome. They're sitting in catering. They get upset. Then they don't want to re-sign when the contract comes up. And AEW just started up 2 years ago. Next year will be 3 years. And usually a lot of people sign 3 to 5 year contracts, so I expect some contracts in AEW are coming up next year. I'm not saying I'm earmarking people to not sign with AEW, but you know what I mean? If I'm somebody like a Sonny Kiss, who was one of the first people signed to AEW, and I'm never on TV, and I'm always on Dark or Dark Elevation, if that, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm not like gung ho to re-sign with this company right away. Maybe I'm negotiating some actual feuds before I think about re-signing with this company. I'm just saying. That kind of stuff happens when you have too many people. And that's why I'm advocating for a brand split. You know what I mean? With AEW Dynamite and Rampage, they have the potential to do a brand split and make it work. I'm sure they can make it work. I know they can make it work. But right now with Rampage, which we just had the 3rd episode of Rampage last week, and it was I would say that was definitely the weakest episode, but once again, it's only been 3 weeks, so you're going to have a week that is not great, and that's fine. But that was definitely an episode where I felt like, damn, I could have skipped this episode. Like, they had the main event was Frankie Kazarian, Christian Cage versus Kenny Omega, and Brandon Cutler. And I'm sitting there like, they have Brandon Cutler in the main event of Rampage? Like, really? Not that Brandon Cutler's a bad wrestler or anything, but they don't treat him like he's worth a damn. He's literally the jock strap of the Elite. He's there. He's the bag boy. He's there to record everything. Like, you have no reason to care about Brandon Cutler. Frankie Kazarian, what is his role? Except for to beat up the Elite every single week. The only people that mattered in that match was Kenny Omega and Christian Cage. And yes, because they have a World Championship match, that makes sense. But you have 2 people in there that don't really matter much. And then they had 2 other matches on the show, which honestly I can't even remember what they are, except for the Jurassic Express versus Lucha Bros match. That was a great match. I enjoyed that match a lot, and it actually made sense because it played into a championship match coming up at AEW All Out. Those are the type of matches they need to have on AEW Rampage, not what we got in the main event. I'm sorry, I don't really care for that match. I didn't care for that match when I heard it, and I didn't care for the match when it happened, to be honest. You can leave that on Dark Elevation. A special episode of Dark Elevation where the world champion competes. That's the kind of thing you want to do on Dark Elevation. Rampage, you could have easily had another. I could probably look at the AEW roster right now and list off some people who are currently not being used that you could have put in main event to, get them some time. Okay, I guess you can't say Andrade El Idolo because they're waiting on him. But let's say Chris Jericho. Yeah, maybe not. He's feuding with MJF right now. Okay, I'm spitballing right now, so don't mind me. Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley's not really actively doing anything right now. You could have put Jon Moxley in there with just about anybody in the main event, and it would have worked because Jon Moxley's a bigger name. But they wanted to do a segment with CM Punk and Darby Allin, which wasn't a segment. It was really just a rehash of what happened last week. I don't know. That episode of Dark last week, I keep on saying Dark, Jesus Christ. That episode of Rampage last week was pretty lackluster. I hope they don't do episodes like that again. But like I said, they're going to have some bad episodes in there. But back to my original point. They have a lot of people. So if they don't sign Adam Cole, I'm not disappointed. Not that I don't like Adam Cole. If Adam Cole were to re-sign with, Impact Wrestling or Ring of Honor, I'll be happy for the guy. I might watch a match or two of his. Signs to New Japan, great. AEW is the one promotion that I watch weekly and I care the most about. So you would think I want everybody in their mama to be signed to AEW. That's true. But overcompensation does happen, and it is a thing. So I'd be wary of that. Adam Cole, his contract came up on Friday. There are other wrestlers, their contracts came up yesterday. And those people are Lana, Santana Garrett, Buddy Murphy, Ruby Riott, and Braun Strowman, former WWE wrestlers that were released on June 1st of this year, are now free people. Buddy Murphy's a free man, as you could tell by his Twitter post yesterday that showed a picture of a guy in shackles breaking them, comparing it to slavery. I know that wasn't his intention, but Jesus. Jesus Christ. So we got 5 people who are now free agents. There are more people who are going to be free agents in the coming month or two, but these are the new crops right now. Where do I think they're going to go? I'll go one by one. Lana, I honestly don't care where she goes because she was not very talented to begin with. I think as a manager for Rusev, she was good. But as a wrestler, she was bad. Like, she was always a bad wrestler. So, like, as competition, I don't care. She could not come back at all for all I fucking care. If she goes to AEW, I would like to see her in a managerial role for Miro. It's not needed. I think Miro is fine by himself, but I wouldn't mind seeing Lana not reprising the ravishing Russian gimmick though, because Rusev isn't doing that. He's not doing the whole, I love Bulgaria, I'm only going to speak Bulgarian gimmick. Like, yeah, you could tell Bulgaria is his representation, but he speaks mainly English in his promos in AEW. So technically, she doesn't need Lana at all. He doesn't need CJ Perry at all. But if that were an acquisition, that'd be fine. That'd be fine. But if she's not going to manage him, I don't think she really has a role in AEW. Because once again, she's not that good. I'm not saying she can't get better. There's obviously time to train her. She can actually improve in other ways. But I'm not crying if she doesn't go to AEW or anywhere else. Like I said, anywhere else, I'm not crying about it. Santana Garrett, here's a woman who's much better in the ring than Lana is. And I don't think she really got a fair shot in NXT. Because I only remember seeing her maybe like a handful of times. So I don't really know what she's capable of in a big role like a main eventer or whatnot. I assume she probably can excel, but that's me assuming. Will she go to AEW? I think AEW definitely could use more women. I did say earlier that, they sign a lot of people. Yeah, they do have a lot of people signed, but 80% of the people they have signed are men. I would really say 85% of the people they have signed are men. So if they were to sign more women, I'm not going to be like angry or be like, oh my God, there's too many. Like, yeah, if you want to sign more women, fine. I wouldn't sign any more men personally. So Santana Garrett, if she signs by AEW, cool. If not, that's fine by me. Buddy Murphy. I was a really big fan of Buddy Murphy's work as Cruiserweight Champion. His matches with Mustafa Ali, his matches with Pac, Tony Nese, you name it, he was great. I firmly believe that he is the spawn of Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega, but that's just me. Where does Buddy Murphy land? Honestly, the destination I feel like is probably going to happen is AEW. If not AEW, I feel like it might be Impact Wrestling. I'm excited for wherever he's going to go, even though his Twitter post yesterday was a bit, tone deaf. I know that I have a feeling that's not what he meant, and he said as much on Twitter. He apologized. I wasn't hurt by his tweet or anything, but I was like, I wouldn't have wanted to tweet that out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still happy for the guy. Can't wait to see what he does. If he goes to AEW, great. If he doesn't, it's cool. Ruby Riott, Ruby Soho. I will say this much. It is quite refreshing to know that of a bunch of people who have been released by WWE. I feel like they've been held down by the man, Vince McMahon. That Ruby Riott has not really said any negative things or put out cryptic tweets or anything towards WWE. It's all been, visuals and videos really building up her return to wrestling, and that's been it. It's refreshing, I'll be honest, you know what I mean? Like, you're so used to seeing people say, oh yeah, fuck WWE, and they didn't book me right, and, we all of us internally hate the fucking WWE. We all just don't like the company, but we watch it for our own reasons. I don't watch, but I know for most of you, you still watch for your own reasons, whether it be you create content or you have Stockholm Syndrome. But for most people out there, they don't like the company, so they find a reason to shit on it. Especially when they worked for them and they weren't treated right and they leave, they okay, here's my opportunity to, talk dog shit about them or whatever. She's not doing that. And I admire that. Even if they did treat her like dog shit and, you want to hear the shoot interviews and the Jericho podcast, I wouldn't be opposed to it. But she's keeping to herself. Admirable work. I like it. If I think she's going to appear in the Casino Royale, she might even be the Joker card coming up this Sunday. I'd be hype. Ruby Riott versus Britt Baker sounds like a treat to me. And lastly on this list is Braun Strowman. Adam Shear. It's either Shear or Sure. I think it's Shear. Braun Strowman. Here's the thing about Braun Strowman. Of all the people that I have seen gotten released by WWE in the last, I want to say maybe 2 years, Braun Strowman is the one guy that I can say looks the least desirable to most people. I'm not saying to me in general, but you go online, you go to Twitter, you go to Instagram, TikTok, whatever the case may be, and you see people talk about Braun Strowman. How many people do you see excited that Braun Strowman's contract is coming up? That Braun Strowman's a free agent? That Braun Strowman could be signed to this guy? I feel like I don't see anybody talking about that. Quite the contrary. I see people who are I don't care where he goes, or I even see people saying they don't want him in AEW. Oh, I don't care for him. I don't want him in AEW. Sign with everybody else but AEW. There's AEW fans that don't even want him there. And it's not like he did anything criminal. Yeah, he said some insensitive tweets. Yeah, he's a kind of an asshole. But he hasn't really done anything that's horrible, deplorable, and it makes you not want to see him there. I think it's just the fact that Braun Strowman, there's nothing really captivating about him. He's a big guy, 6'8", 300 pounds, very muscled up, and he had a lot of really good feats of strength in WWE, pushing over monster trucks, deadlifting people. He had a tremendous monster run in 2016 that really elevated him, and by 2017 he was one of the most over guys in WWE. If anything, I think he might have been the most over guy in WWE in 2017. But he had a brick wall called Brock Lesnar, and he never ever beat that brick wall down and broke it down. He lost to Brock Lesnar 4 times and never beat him. And yeah, he beat Goldberg last year WrestleMania, but by that time, people stopped caring about Braun Strowman. He was a dead horse. Nobody cared about Braun Strowman. Nobody cared that he beat Goldberg. And by the time he started a feud with The Fiend and he lost, the people just didn't fucking care anymore. They had something. If Braun Strowman would have got released in 2018, I feel like people would have been on the moon and been yes, Braun Strowman. That's given AEW's even a thing of 2018. But if he would have got released 3 years earlier, even 2 years earlier, I feel like people would be singing a different tune. But because he's been beaten down and almost cast aside so much, and even though in the latter half of his career he was the Universal Champion, people genuinely just don't care about Braun Strowman. Now, in the ring, I thought he was a really good powerhouse. But as far as promos go, there was nothing about him that made you really care. Oh yeah, I'm a big man, bro, and all that kind of stuff. Now, that could have been what WWE was feeding him in terms of his scripts and his feuds. Who knows? Maybe he comes to AEW and he's a whole different person. And he's tremendous on promos. And he's really good in the ring. And maybe WWE just limited him this whole time. But he really never showed me anything outside of his 2017 work that made me go, damn, I really want to see him, excel other places. So Braun Strowman's kind of in the same ballpark as Lana for me. Where it's like, you know what I mean? Like, he's better than Lana in the ring. But if Braun Strowman were not to, go to AEW, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed if he doesn't go to AEW. It's like, okay, all right, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I feel like Braun Strowman might be one of those people who had to get re-signed by WWE. I don't know, for less money or something like that. But my thinking with Braun Strowman, I don't know. Honestly, he may go to AEW. I feel like if he does, yeah, they got a big guy, cool. But they got Brian Cage, they got Lance Archer, they got Miro. Is Braun Strowman needed in AEW? Not really. Not really. And even if he does get signed to AEW, what role do you cement him in? Is he the big monster? Well, there goes Lance Archer's role in AEW as the big monster. Is he a bodyguard for somebody? Well, you kind of really just de-pushed him because he was a Universal Champion a year ago. Does he come in as part of a faction? All right, well, now he's a background player like he was in the Wyatt family. Just waiting to get unleashed to become the main star. I don't know. It's a weird place for Braun Strowman. I don't really know what you do with him right now. I feel like right now it's probably just a bad time. If he got released a year earlier, 2 years earlier, yeah, awesome. But in 2021, I don't know. But that's where I see those 5-6 people going. Next, we're going to talk about Daniel Bryan. Now, reports were going around about a month ago. Daniel Bryan was rumored to be making his debut in AEW at the Arthur Ashe Stadium on September 22nd, AEW Grandslam, which everyone was expecting because, of course, CM Punk already made his debut in AEW at Rampage last week and was making his in-ring debut at All Out. So now people are saying that, and by people I mean Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net, who's been reporting a lot of really good stuff lately, so he's definitely getting up there in terms of reputable sources, that AEW has decided to move up Bryan Danielson's first appearance at AEW Grand Slam to AEW All Out this Sunday. Wrestling Observer Live's Brian Alvarez also heard the same thing from multiple sources, that Daniel Bryan will be at the show on Sunday. With expected there to be some impacts, maybe even possible a show cancellation to the Arthur Ashe Stadium show, AEW is being wary of this and wants him to debut sooner. So that is going to be quite the show. If you have CM Punk wrestling and then Daniel Bryan debuts in some way. Here's how I see it playing out. I think that Daniel Bryan will likely come out at the end of the Kenny Omega and Christian Cage match and eye down Kenny Omega. That's how I see it playing out. Now, I said earlier that Adam Cole should not be getting world title shots right away. That's a thing. Adam Cole shouldn't be getting world title shots right away because Adam Cole, I mean, he's been in NXT for 4 years. CM Punk should be getting world title shots right away because CM Punk's been gone for 7 years. Bryan Danielson was just in the main event of WrestleMania 37 for the Universal Championship 5 months ago. 5 months ago. And he has been a world champion. He's been a U.S. champion. He's been an IC champion, Money in the Bank winner. He's been a main eventer of WrestleMania on 2 occasions. Daniel Bryan, accolade-wise, is the third biggest wrestler AEW has behind John. Actually, he's the second biggest because he's accomplished more than Dean Ambrose did in WWE. So he is the second biggest acquisition to AEW behind Chris Jericho in terms of accomplishments outside of AEW. He is the second biggest wrestler they would have. Because technically, he accomplished more than CM Punk did. CM Punk is a hotter topic, yes, but Daniel Bryan has been active all the years that CM Punk was not active. He's been killing it all the years CM Punk was sitting at home or trying out for UFC. Not a knock at CM Punk, but Daniel Bryan has been there. He is, in a sense, more of an asset than CM Punk is right now. CM Punk is just a bigger name because he's been gone for so long. But if CM Punk were not to return, Daniel Bryan would be the hotter asset right now, would be the hotter topic. And Daniel Bryan will still get a humongous pop. I don't know if it will be bigger than CM Punk's, but it will be a huge pop when he comes out, assuming it will be All Out this Sunday. The question is, what do you do? And I think he comes out, he eyes down Kenny Omega, and the show ends. And I believe that if they are going to be having Daniel Bryan debut at this show, the Arthur Ashe Stadium, I think Daniel Bryan will probably challenge Kenny Omega for the World Championship. And you might be thinking, oh, that's too soon. But as I just said, Daniel Bryan is somebody who has the name and the accolades that constitute a main event run right away. Chris Jericho, when he signed with AEW, guess what happened? He faced Kenny Omega, and the next match after he faced Kenny Omega, he faced Hangman Page for the AEW World Championship, and he beat him, and he became the AEW World Champion. Jon Moxley, it took about several more months, and then he became the World Champion. I think Daniel Bryan's on that cusp. I think that we get Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega at the Arthur Ashe Stadium, and the question at that point is, do you pull the trigger with Daniel Bryan then? Or do you have Kenny Omega beat Daniel Bryan in his first match in AEW? That's the really puzzling question. Because with Hangman Page being out and we don't know when he's coming back, if Bryan Danielson defeats Kenny Omega, that's going to be the talk of the town, is that Bryan Danielson is the new AEW World Champion, and you know what I mean? He did this months out of main event WrestleMania. Like, he will be the talk of the town if this happens. But that immediately puts Hangman Page on ice. Like if he was hot then, he is iced off now. Because now you have CM Punk in the company and Bryan Danielson in the company, but he is leading the pack. And now Kenny Omega has to chase after Daniel Bryan, and all the other wrestlers who want Daniel Bryan has to chase after him. So honestly and truly, it's a disservice to the Hangman Page and Kenny Omega arc if Bryan Danielson does challenge and beat Kenny Omega. But you have a talent like Bryan Danielson. Why don't you put the title on him? It doesn't have to be now, though. It doesn't have to be now. But if you do the match, it makes sense to do it then. I don't know. It's hard, man. I have to put the question out to you guys. You are Tony Khan. You have Bryan Danielson on your roster. And he has been set up to face Kenny Omega at Arthur Ashe Stadium for the World Championship. Do you put the title on Daniel Bryan, or do you have Kenny Omega retain? I pan that question over to you guys. Because I'll wait. I'll wait and see what they do at Arthur Ashe Stadium. I'll wait to see what they do All Out. Because if that happens, and that's the direction they go in, then I'll have to start really planning and scheming. But for now, I'll just pose that question to you guys. What do you guys do with Bryan Danielson? Now, all that out the way, let's get into our prediction portion of the podcast. Starting off with Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix. We've been going through this tournament. I have not been keeping up with all of it, I'll be honest. Stardom's 5-Star Grand Prix, it's not as linear and it's not as congruent and stable as the G1 Climax is. With the New Japan G1 Climax, which is coming up this month, you have 5 matches a day. Each day, a different block. A block, B block, A block, B block. With Stardom, it's not every other day. It's random days. And certain days, it's certain matches with certain blocks. And you don't really know who's leading by what, technically, because who has more matches. It's confusing, honestly. It's very confusing. And at this point, if you're watching for the matches. You don't really know who's in the lead until like the last 2 days. And by the last day, you know who's going to win, or you have a feeling of who might win. Like right now, Micah's leading because she has 7 points. But it's like, really, is she leading by 7 points because she has had an equal amount of matches to everyone on her block? Or is she leading because Mai Iwatani only wrestled 2 matches and Micah's wrestled 4 of them? Those are the questions you have to ask yourself if you're not watching this tournament intently. And when I have to ask those questions, it's like, then I have to watch the entire tournament and not get tied up in the fact that there's championship matches happening. There's matches that are happening between wrestlers that are not tournament matches. It's confusing. I don't understand why Stardom books that way, but they just do. And day 9 is a very important day because they're having 2 matches that are really going to set up the future of the World Championship. And we'll get into this card right now. So on this card, we have 4 matches that have nothing to do with the tournament, which is why I just don't like how the 5-star Grand Prix is mapped out. The first, Hanan versus Fukujin Death. I think Fukujin Death is going to win because she's in the tournament, Hanan is not. Next, we have Mayu Iwatani versus Hina. Mayu wins because Hina is not in the tournament. Unagi Sayaka versus Natsupoi. That's not a tournament match because Natsupoi is red-block and Unagi is blue-block, which, once again, why are we doing matches like this? It just confuses people who are not, zoomed in. Even people who are zoomed in, I feel like, probably get confused by this. But they're doing it. I mean, I think Natsupoi wins. We have Mai Sakurai, who I believe is a new signee to Stardom. I think she's in Cosmic Angels, if I'm correct. She's facing off against Julia on this show. I'm going to say Julia wins. And then we get into the tournament matches. For Red Stars, you have Himeka versus Mina Shirakawa. Himeka has 0 points. Mina has 4. I'm shocked that Mina has 0 points. She was in the finals of the tournament last year with Julia and lost. I mean, not Julia. With, I forgot who won last year. Utami, and she lost. So you would think she would be doing better, but no, she's losing. She ain't winning shit. Mina has 4 points. I think Himeka gets the win here, and she finally gets on the charts. The next match in here, Konami versus Takumi Iroha. On August 29th, we had Takumi Iroha versus Maika, and I believe Takumi won that match. I think that Takumi's going to win this match, and that will probably put her in the running for, what could be later on in the tournament. But the main event here is very important. Utami Hayashishida goes one-on-one with Shiori. And both women right now are tied at 4 points apiece. I believe that this match will likely go to a time limit draw again. I originally was going to say that Shiori wins, but because there's still several days left in the tournament, I feel like they could still have a time limit draw and Shiori still wins the tournament. And I think she will still win the tournament, the whole thing, and face Utami later on. But I don't want to give her that win just this early, because if she does win the tournament and she does face Utami very later on in the year, I believe she should save that win for when Shiori does beat Utami for the World Championship. So I would reserve this win and have it be a time limit draw again. Or if that's tired and you already seen it, then do Utami beating Shiori. Which I don't think Utami's actually beaten Shiori yet. I think it's been Shiori won by top rope elimination, and Utami and Shiori tied 2 times. So maybe Utami's due back for the win here? Or does that kind of nullify the story a bit? I don't know. I think it's either going to be time limit draw or Utami wins. I'm a bet on time limit draw again, though. Then we get into New Japan Pro Wrestling. They have the Wrestle Grandslam and MetLife Dome shows coming up this weekend. We're going to talk about the September 4th Saturday show right now. On the pre-show, we have Lady C and Maika, Stardom Returns, versus Sayaka Matani and Momo Watanabe. Mind you, this is the same day as the Stardom show I just mentioned. Now listen here. This match and the match happening on September 5th have been confirmed to air on NJPW World. So these Stardom matches will be officially airing on the actual show, just on the pre-show. Which, that's great. Stardom is actually going to be on the pre-show, and it will be showcased to many people around the world. That is tremendous exposure for Stardom. I'm so excited for these women. I would have not put Lady C in this match, but hey, to each their own. I think that Sayaka Matani and Momo get the win here. I'm going to say that Momo pins Lady C. But then getting into the main show, we have Tiger Mask and Robbie Eagles versus Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. This is all building up to Hiromu Takahashi versus Robbie Eagles on the following night. I'm going to say that Hiromu Takahashi pins Tiger Mask. Second match in, we have Yo versus Sho. And boy, oh boy, am I excited for this match. Yo and Sho have been teaming up for about 6 years now as Roppongi 3K. And finally, they're going to be splitting up and doing their own thing. Sho has not been confirmed to be with a certain faction right now, but I feel like it's Suzuki-gun imminent. Yo is still in chaos. Who wins? I forgot what the record is, but it's an absurd record. Let me go back to NJPW 1972 real quick, because there's an absurd record these two have against each other. Look at this. Look at this real quick. So Yo and Sho win-loss record is 18, 10, and 23. 52 matches these men have had against each other. Now, mind you, I believe 51 of these matches against each other were as Young Lions. And it doesn't shock me, because Young Lions face off against each other a lot. So that doesn't shock me, but that's a crazy number. 52 matches with each other. And technically, it looks like Yo favors the most wins with 23 wins over with Sho. And Sho has 18 wins over Yo and 10 ties. Or I might have got that mixed up. But Yo favors, he is the one winning this feud. But going into this feud, this match where both men are fully complete in a sense, I think that Sho's going to win. He just turned heel, and it would kind of ice him if Yo beats him. So I think that Sho wins this, and then he joins a faction later on. If it's not Suzuki-gun, he's definitely going to be joining Will Ospreay's faction of, I want to say the Kingpin, but United Empire. After Yo and Sho, we have Toru Yano versus Chase Owens. The KOPW provisional match and an I Quit match. I don't give a fuck. After this, we have Kazuchika Okada versus Jeff Cobb. A rematch from the Wrestle Grandslam and Tokyo Dome match, which was honestly just good at best. Jeff Cobb won that match. I believe that Okada will get the win back here. We have Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kota Ibushi for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship in the main event of the show. It's going to be tremendous, as all their matches are. I believe that Tanahashi will retain the U.S. Championship. He will hold on to that championship for a bit longer and will finally contest against Jon Moxley. I love Kota Ibushi, but the match is between Tanahashi and Jon Moxley that I want to see, and to have that, Kota Ibushi cannot be winning. September 5th, the day after, they have the second show in the MetLife Dome. On a pre-show, we have Sayaka Matani and Momo Watanabe versus Shiori and Julia. Shiori and Julia back in the dome. I think they're getting the win here. The tag team champions. I don't think this is for the championships. It's a non-title match, but I think the tag team champions get the win here. Getting into the main show, we have Tomohiro Ishii and Kazuchika Okada versus the Great Okan and Jeff Cobb. They're continuing this Chaos versus United Empire feud. I'm going to say that Okada and Ishii, they take the L, because obviously Okada beats Jeff Cobb, and they're going to extend this out some more. I think that Jeff Cobb is going to pin Ishii. We have Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado versus El Fantasmo, ELPP, and Taiji Ishimori for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championships. I did see that Taiji Ishimori will be at a GCW show in New York City later this month, which that's enticing. Who wins this match? I mean, I personally don't care. This feud has been going on for long enough. I'm a bit over it, honestly. But I think El Fantasma and Taiji Ishimori will win this match. I don't remember who are the tag team champions, but do you blame me? Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi defend their IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championships in a triple threat tag team match, which I don't really remember when's the last time I ever seen or heard of New Japan doing a triple threat tag team match. But they defend their championships against Sonata and Tetsuya Naito of LIJ and Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto of Chaos. You know, when I first saw this match announced, I went to the quote tweets and I read all the quote tweets of Japanese wrestling fans. And a lot of Japanese wrestling fans don't like the concept of this match. They don't like the concept of it being a triple threat tag team match, which interests me. But I guess because I'm an American and I'm used to seeing matches like this in some way, it interests me because I don't see New Japan do this very often. You can easily have Yoshihashi and Goto win by pinning Taichi and Sonata and Naito, because Yoshihashi and Goto, they've been killing it as Never Six Tag Team Champions with him and Ishii. I would like to see them win the Tag Team Championships. That'd be nice, especially Yoshihashi. You know, he hasn't actually won anything crazy in New Japan before. I think holding 2 tag team championships actually gets some name recognition on him for some change. Sonata, Naito, they've already held gold together. They don't need to hold it again. However, I need them to get away from Sonata and Taichi. I mean, from Zack Sabre Jr. and Taichi. They've been feuding for several months now, and I'm over it. Even though I haven't been watching New Japan, I'm over seeing them team up with each other. Part of the reason I don't watch New Japan is because New Japan is the king of rematches, and this is one of them. I'm going to go with Yoshihashi and Goto to win this match. It might be dumb of me to say that, but I got Yoshihashi and Goto. Co-main event of the show, Robbie Eagles versus Hiromu Takahashi for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. They had a really great match. I want to say it was at the Tokyo Dome. They had a match about a year ago that was really good, and I enjoyed that match a lot. I believe that Robbie Eagles will retain. He's only one defense in so far. Hiromu is their ace, their junior ace. I personally want to see Hiromu Takahashi in the G1 Climax this year. With guys like, well, I guess Tanahashi's going to be in the G1, seeing as that he's already back in Japan. With guys like Jay White and Ishii possibly not being involved in the G1, this is where you get guys like Hiromu in the G1. So I potentially think that Hiromu has a slot in there. I think that you could get him in with the Junior Heavyweight Championship because Will Ospreay was Junior Heavyweight Champion when he was in the G1. If not, you can get him in and then maybe do a heavyweight graduation, possibly. I might be asking for too much at that point. I think Robbie Eagles retains. In the main event of the show, Shingo Takagi goes one-on-one with Evil for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Shingo Takagi retains. Simple, easy. Evil's reign sucked ass. He had boring matches, bad matches, okay matches, and his feud was entirely with Tetsuya Naito the whole time. So I don't want to see him with the championship again. I'm sorry. I'm over it. It sucks that I have to say that, but I really don't care to see Evil win that championship back. And if you would have done this match 2 years ago, I would have been super amped for it. But Evil with the Bullet Club and with Dick Togo, I have zero interest in this match. I mean, I think it would have been cool with Evil and LIJ and him actually having to work and do work rate matches. But him doing the heel stick, the low blows, the Dick Togo interferences, I don't give a shit. So Shingo retains, and he's going to walk into Wrestle Kingdom as the champion against who? The winner of the G1 Climax. And who do I think that is? I don't really know. But I'll tell you this. If Shingo walks in as the champion, I will be 100% zoned into that G1 Climax this year. But that's where I get into a show happening that same day, later that evening, and that is AEW All Out, which I will be watching this weekend. I'm not too certain or if I'm going to be live for that show. I am having a watch party at my house with some of my friends. I'll see about it. I'm not too certain. If I don't do a live reaction, I'll be doing a live review of the show right after it happens. But on this show, on the buy-in, we have the return of the Women's Casino Battle Royale. Confirmed for the match, we have Nyla Rose, Thunder Rosa, The Bunny, Big Swole, Julia Hart, Tay Conti, Diamante, Penelope Ford, Red Velvet, Hikaru Shida, Emi Sakura, Kiera Hogan, and Jade Cargill, with 8 other women yet to be confirmed and 1 Joker card. Well, I guess that would be 7 women yet to be confirmed and a Joker card. Like I said earlier, I believe Ruby Soho will be the Joker card. Santana Garrett, realistically, probably will end up being in this match. If I could throw in another name in there, I would love to see Mickie James in this match. She just had a match on NWA 73rd Anniversary show, and she just produced NWA Empower. So I would love nothing more than to see Hardcore Country in this match. If you guys don't know, Mickie James is my all-time favorite women's wrestler. So I would pop huge for Mickie James in this match. Huge for Mickie James. If not Mickie, Melina. And if not Melina, Camille Brickhouse being the NWA Women's Champion. I believe they did not confirm Layla Hirsch for the match yet, but she probably will be in a match too. There's some other names in there. Jamie Hayter probably will be in a match later on as well. Probably could lump some other ones in, but those are the ones I see. I have 2 predictions for who I think will win. The Joker card being Ruby Soho will win. If not Ruby Soho, I think Jade Cargill wins this match. Jade Cargill is somebody who they were really stacking a lot of bread on when the beginning of the year. They were having her have a bunch of promos. They had her team up with Shaq in her first match. She's undefeated. She hasn't lost a match yet. But she's really been on the back burner, I really want to say, since the beginning of the summer. Hasn't been featured much, and when she has been featured, it's been on Dark and Dark Elevation. She had a match against Kiera Hogan on Rampage last week, but it was very much nullified by CM Punk's debut in AEW. So nobody cared. I think winning this match will put Jade Cargill back on the map, and you could easily do her versus Britt Baker. And it's not like the fans are going to boo Britt Baker. They're obviously going to boo Jade Cargill. I understand that Britt Baker is a heel, but I think Jade Cargill should be back in that championship picture. We should not forget how much of a threat she is to the women's division. And by doing this and having her win, that's the way to do it. Like I said, if not Jade, Ruby Soho. Then we get into the main show. Jon Moxley goes one-on-one with Satoshi Kojima. Not Hiroshi Tanahashi, so a bit disappointed, but I'm excited to see Satoshi Kojima on AEW television. It's going to be really good. I believe Jon Moxley will win this match. Paul White goes one-on-one with QT Marshall. I don't really care about QT Marshall much at all. It is going to be cool to see Paul White, aka The Big Show, in an AEW ring. He is closing in on 50, so I don't really know how agile he will be in this match, but you know, it's cool to see him in an AEW ring. Paul White wins. We have Pac going one-on-one with Andrade El Idolo. El Idolo. I am super excited for this match, just in terms of what both men are capable of. I believe it can go either way. I mean, personally, it could. I say personally it could. If Pac were to beat Andrade, I don't think it's going to kill off Andrade too much, given the storyline. It makes the most sense for Andrade to win, though, which is why I'm going to go with Andrade El Idolo to win this match. We have Britt Baker going up against Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship. Chris Statlander has been eyeing down Britt Baker a lot. They had some skirmishes. But Chris Statlander has not been built up properly to beat Britt Baker, which is why I believe that Britt Baker will retain the championship here. We have Miro defending the AEW TNT Championship against Eddie Kingston. This is a match that has been built up on 1 week's notice. Literally, Eddie Kingston came out after Miro was basically bullying Fuego del Sol on Rampage last week. He came down to the ring, they went to blows, and that's it. I mean, it's cool, but it has no build up to it, which is why Eddie Kingston should not be beating Miro for this championship. I believe Miro will retain. Chris Jericho goes up against MJF once again. But if Chris Jericho loses, he must retire from in-ring competition in AEW. As much as I would like to believe that Chris Jericho might be toning down a bit, I don't see it. Chris Jericho still has some fuel left in the tank, and he's going to use that up. I think that this feud is going to end here with Chris Jericho beating MJF and moving on from the MJF stuff. He's been feuding with MJF for about a year now, because technically they had their first match at All Out 2020. And if it wasn't All Out 2020, let me see, hold on. Let me see real quick. All Out 2020. Right. So MJF faced off against Jon Moxley. So Full Gear 2020 is when they had their first match. But they got involved with each other after All Out 2020. They've been feuding for the better part of a year. It's time to move on. Chris Jericho beats MJF. And he goes from there. We have the Young Bucks going up against the Lucha Bros in a steel cage match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. The Young Bucks have beaten just about every team in AEW thus far. But one team they have not faced off against for a long time is the Lucha Bros. And if I go to cage match right now, I want to say the last time the Young Bucks have faced off against the Lucha Bros was actually at All Out 2019. They were involved in multi-man tag team matches in that period of time afterwards, but the last direct tag team match these guys had against each other was at All Out 2019 in a ladder match. So this is 2 years in the making, and I believe that the Young Bucks will beat the Lucha Bros yet again to retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships. I would love nothing more than for somebody to take the titles off the Young Bucks. I believe their mileage is running out with these championships, considering they've beaten everybody already. But there is one team left that I think could beat the Young Bucks and should beat the Young Bucks, and that is none other than Proud and Powerful, which is why I think the Young Bucks will retain here. And if they don't retain, I'm not mad at all. We have 2 matches here, which I don't know which one main events, but I'll go with Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the AEW World Championship as the co-main event, which I believe that Kenny Omega will retain. And this will see the debut of Bryan Danielson in AEW coming out after the match, staring him down. And then the main event of the show could be, if it's not main eventing the show, it's opening the show. That's how I see this happening. CM Punk makes his in-ring return one-on-one against Darby Allin. The easy answer here is that CM Punk wins. And I know people are saying, will it hurt Darby Allin? No, it is not going to hurt Darby Allin. CM Punk is a huge name in professional wrestling. Darby Allin has faced off in multiple main events. He has been TNT champion multiple times. He is not hurting by losing this match. The only way you hurt Darby Allin after losing this match is if he slips into irrelevancy and just faces off against people on Dark for the next few months. That's how you hurt Darby Allin. If Darby Allin loses this match and he goes into another feud, he is fine. So it's all about how AEW treats Darby Allin after this point. But this one loss here, it will not hurt Darby Allin. I think CM Punk wins. What do you do with CM Punk after this match is a good question. I'm not too sure. Especially if Daniel Bryan is first against Kenny Omega. If they want to do Kenny Omega versus CM Punk first, that's very ballsy. I would not do that first, but hey, we'll see in due time. And guys, that is Chill Spill Podcast episode 63. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Let your boy know. I love you as always, and I will see you all this Saturday for New Japan and Stardom, and this Sunday for New Japan and AEW All Out. Peace out, guys. That was so corny. Peace out, guys.